Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this session of data interpretation for IBPSPO RRBPO and clerical main examination. I hope this session would be of some use to you, as we will be covering some aspects of data interpretation. Different sets would be available for us to solve, and we will see how we go about it. I hope I'm audible, and to start with, I have unmuted all of you. So if you want to say something or have any doubts on the question, you can always unmute yourself and let me know. So to start with, am I audible? If somebody can unmute and let me know if I'm audible, if loud and clear.
Audible, sir.
All right, thank you so much. So what we'll do is, how we'll go about this is, I'll give you a set to solve. There would be some 4 or 5 questions for each set, and I'll give you like 1 or 2 minutes to go about the set, and then probably when I'll ask you if you're ready with your answers, then probably we can discuss the answers, and we'll try and maintain the decorum. So even if you have to speak, just unmute yourself, give your answer, then again you can mute yourself so that no background noise can disturb the whole scenario. All right, so are we good to go? All right, so we look at the first set to start with. So this is the first set. I hope it is clearly visible to all. So this set gives you the sales of gadgets manufactured by 6 companies, and it is happening in 3 villages, KL and M. Just go through the data, understand the data. Some of the values are missing. Just get a sense of the data, and then we'll begin with it. So there are 6 companies: Abhi, Gen, Net, Tej, Vega, and Vio. Some of the values for total sales of gadgets for these companies have been given, and some percentage have also been given that is happening in these 3 villages. And it is also to be seen that any company is doing sales in only these 3 villages. The total sum of all the percentages should be 100%. Yeah, so let's try with this. All right, so this is your first question. So if the ratio of sales of Abhi to that of Tej in K is 40:27, find the sales of Tej in M. So I have been given the ratio for Abhi to that of Tej in village K, and some values have been given. You have to find the sales of Tej in M. Yeah, any answers? How would we go about this? So we can see ki Abhi to Tej, we have been given a ratio of 40:27, and that is happening in village K. And if you look at Abhi in village K is 32% of 6,000, right? And for Tej, company Tej, we have not been given the total value. Let's say that is X. So can we say that is 27% of X? And this ratio is given out to be 41:27. Now, what we can do is we can see 27 gets cancelled with 27, and we can find out the value of X to be 32/40 of 6,000. And if we solve it, the total sales of Tej we can find out that is 4,800. Now, if the sales of Tej is 4,800, we have been asked to find the Tej in M. Now, if you look at M, the value of M is not given, right? This value is not given, but we can clearly identify that 27 and 45 is total to 72. So Tej will have a sale of 28%, 100 minus 72, 28% of the total sales, that is 4,800. So if we solve this, the value that we arrive at is 1344. So the right answer would be option 4, which is 1344. Is it clear? Yeah. So here the total sales of Tej wasn't given. So we computed the sales of Tej, which was 4,800 according to this question. And then in village M, the percentage has not been provided, but we have been given that K and L together is 72%. Then obviously village M will have 28% of the sales. So 28% of this 4,800 will give us the value that is required, that is 1344. All right, are we good for the next question? So somebody has to unmute yourself and let me know if this is clear, if any doubts that you may have. We'll try and make it interactive so that we can get along well. Should we move to the next one? All right. Any doubts, anyone? All right, we move to the next one. Now, again, the data remains the same. And in this question, we have been given that, just go through the question. If this in M, the sales of Gen is 414, less than that of net, right? Then what is the percentage of sales in M? So village M, they're talking about village M, where the sales of Gen is 414 less than that of net. What is the percentage sales of Gen in M? Try this. See, first we can find out, see, we know Gen and net, both total sales have been given. But for net, we can also compute the percentage, like K and L 36 and 28. So net in M. So if you look at net in M will be 36% of the total is 6,400, right? So that will be like 2,304. And Gen ka sale jo hai, that is 414 less. So if we subtract 414, so we get 1890. So this is the sale of Gen in M, right? Because Gen ka sale was 414 less, so whatever the sale was of net was there, we subtracted 414, we get 1890. Now this is what percentage of the sales. So he's asking what is the percent of sales of Zen in M. So Zen ka jo total sale hai, that is given out to be 7560. This is the total sales. And what is 1890 of 7560? So if we solve this, you'll see the answer comes out to be how much? 25%. Because this, see, 0 gets cancelled out, and if we sub 189 into 4, to 4 cancels this at 25 times, the answer would be 25%, which is option number first. I hope it is clear. So in this question, we were not given the value of Gen, right? Percentage of M, village M was not given for Gen, but from net we computed the value of Gen, company Gen in village M, and that was 1890, and that 1890 is what percentage of 7560. So answer would be 25%. I hope it is clear. Yes, any doubt so far? Anyone? All right, we move to the next one. Try this. Try the third question yourself. So the question says the average sales of Abhi, Vyom. The question says the average sales of Abhi, Vyom and net in K is 1858. We have to find the sales of Vyom in M. The average of three things have been given, and that is 1858. And Abhi, so if I can write it down, Abhi plus Vyom plus net, and the average in K, village K, is given out to be 1858. So the sales of Abhi, Vyom and net in village K would be 1858 multiplied by 3, and that comes out to be 5574. All right. Now, kiska sale we can find out in K. See, we can find out for Abhi and we can find out for net. So Abhi ka sale would be 32%. See, in K it is 32% of 6,000, and that comes out to be 1920. This is Abhi sale in K. Then we can also find net sales in K. Net sales in K would be 36% of 6,400. 36% of 6,400, and that totals to 2304. Right. Now, if we look at this value and this value, so to find out net the sales of Vyom in K, that will be 5574 minus the total of this, right? That is 1920 plus 2304. And if we solve this, we get 1350. That is the sale of Vyom in K, right? And we have been asked to find the sales of Vyom in M. Now 1350 is represented 1 by 4. Why 1 by 4? Because in K sale of Vyom is 25%. So we can say 1 by 4 of Vyom total is 1350. So Vyom total comes out to be how much? 5,400. Now, if Vyom's total is 5,400, we have to find sales of M. So M in Vyom is 33%. So can we say 33% of 5,400? And if we solve this, so this is 33 upon 100 into 5400. 0 gets cancelled out. If we multiply this, we get our answer as 1782. Now, see, there is a trick to solve this quickly. Now, if you look at the options, see, you have to multiply 33 and 54. The last digit of this multiplication would be 2. And there is only one option that is satisfying that, and that is option second. So there are at times when you don't have to actually solve the complete thing. If you look at the options and eliminate the options, then probably you are in a better position to solve it. Here, the last digit would of this 33 into 54, you would appreciate that it will be 2. And there is only one option which is, ending with 2. So that should be our answer. We don't need to find out the whole thing again. All right. So I hope this question is clear as well. Yes. Any doubts? No? Okay. All right. So next question, what I'll do is I'll give you some time and I would want you to answer. I would want somebody to solve it and let me know the answer. All right. I'll wait for your answer, then I'll solve it. Okay. Please go ahead with this question. Whosoever gets it can unmute him or herself and just let me know the answer. We have to find the ratio of Vega, Abhi and net in K. And for Vega, we have been given the total sales is 7,200. See if you can find out all the values and then take a ratio of this. Any answers, anyone?
D.
Third option is right. Very good. Now how we will start this is 7200 is Vega's sale, total sale, and if you look at Vega's, K has not been mentioned. So but this 30 and 40 suggests that this should be 30% because total is 100%. So we can say Vega's sale in K would be 7200 ka 30%, and if you do this you get 2160. Now for Abhi, you can clearly figure out Abhi is 6000 total and K is 32%, and this comes out to be 1920. And third is your net. For net, the total is 6400, and this value we have computed earlier also, 36%, and that comes out to be 2304. So the ratio would be 2160 ratio 1920 ratio 2304. All right. Now, see, think from this perspective. To solve this, how would you go about this? See, option first and fifth will be eliminated because this number is ending with 4, and this is 30, and this is 35. So these won't be the option. Now, if we look at these two values, so this value, if you cancel 0, this comes out to be, if we cancel with, let's say, 8, we get 27. And this is 24. So this is 9:8. Look for the option which has 9:8. पूरा solve करने का जरूरत भी नहीं है. If you look for the option 9:8, that is clearly evident, which is there in option number 3. So there you be way out. Either you can solve completely, you can cancel out. But if you look at the values, this is 9:8. Only one option is satisfying 9:8, which is 45:40. And obviously 2304 is more, so we can clearly work out this will be 48. So this is how you work it out. See, second option again cannot happen because the third value 32 is less than 40. Here our third value is greater than this, right? Similarly, this cannot be option, this cannot be the option. This can be the option, but this is not 32 30, it should be 45 40 48. So my suggestion is solving is good, but at times we have to look at the options, especially in ratio cases. If we can figure out something out of the options, that will be great. So in this question, most of the option can be eliminated. The option would be left with will be fifth and third, and fifth is eliminated because it is ending with 35. This is a multiple of 5, but 2304 is not a multiple of 5. So clearly we can say that our answer should be option number 3. Right? Let's move to the last question of this set. Please try this. Again, go through the question, find out your answer, and let me know the option. Question says if in L and M, in L and in M, the sales of Tej are more than those of Vyom by 570 and 80 respectively, right? So this will give you essentially two equations. Then the total sales of Vyom is what percentage of the total sales of Tej? Please go through it, try and solve it. This is a good question. First and foremost, find out that for Tej you have not been given M. So you have to find M, and M would be, this is 45, 27, so this should be 28%. And for Vyom you have not been given L, so L should be, this should be 42%. Then you can form your equation. Yeah, please solve and let me know. So we can approach this question by saying, let's say the total sales of Tej is 100x, right? And for Vyom the total sales is 100y. Now, according to the question, the difference of Tej in L and Vyom in L is 570. So Tej in L will be 45x and Vyom in L would be 42y. So this difference is coming out to be 570. Then for village M, the sales of Tej will be 28x and Vyom it will be 33y, and that difference is coming out to be 80. We have been given two equations, one is this and the other is this. 45x minus 42y is equal to 570, 28x minus 33y is equal to 80. And if we solve this, both these equations, and we can solve it by elimination process, we'll get x as 50 and we'll get y as 40, right? If you get x as 50 and y as 40, then you can say Tej ka total sales would be 100 into 50, which is 5,000, and Vyom total sale will be 100 into 40, that is 4,000. And we have been asked sales of Vyom is what percentage of total sales of Tej. So Vyom total sales is 4,000 upon 5,000. This is a fraction we all know is 4 by 5, and 4 by 5 translates to 80%. So our answer should be 80%. Now this question obviously involves calculation in terms of if you look at these values, right? Because here you will have to just find out a way to solve this quicker, but if you know your equations, you can definitely solve it. All right, so the answer should be first option, which is 80%. Is this clear? So see, again, every set will have 4 or 5 questions, and one question would be time consuming. So if you find that, okay, fine, if I have time, I can solve this, this equation quickly, then yes, or probably you can come back to this when you are done, you've gone through the whole paper. So it depends on how much time you have. Generally in mains you will have some time, so that's not an issue. But yeah, equation solving is important in this because you will have to form two equations, one in terms of difference of Tej and Vyom in L and difference of Tej and Vyom in M. All right, is it clear? The first set is clear. Can we move to the second one? All right, let's go to this. Yeah, any doubts?
Sir, please tell first one, sir.
First question?
Yes, sir.
All right, first question, go to the first question. Yeah, what about the first question? So in the first question, we have been given the sales of Abhi to Tej is 40:27. So we have been given 40:27. And see, it is talking about K. So Abhi in K is 32%. So this is 32% of 6,000 Abhi. And for if you look at Tej is 27%. This value we have taken as X. So 32% of 6,000 upon 27% of X is 40 upon 27. Right, so 27, see, percentage gets eliminated with percentage, 27 gets eliminated with 27. We are left with X is equal to 32 by 40 of 6,000. This is again 4 by 5, and if we solve this, 1200 into 4 is 4800. So if we get 4800, this is the total sales of Tej. So now we can put this total sales as 4800. Now we have to find sales of Tej in M. Now this value M has not been given, but this is 27, this is 45. So 27 and 45 total is 72%. So obviously this will be how much? 28%. So we have to find 28% of 4800, which is 1344. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's move to the next one. Okay, so this is the next set. Just go through this, then I'll put the next slide. It gives the percentage of televisions, two types of television, smart and HDR, right? In 3 shops, P, Q, and R. The first table shows the percentage of televisions sold. So in PQR, the televisions sold are 80%, 75%, 60%. This is obviously sold of the total stock, right? The second graph gives you the number of TVs, smart TVs and HDR TVs. So for P, smart TVs is 125, HDR TVs is 100. Similarly, for shop Q, they have given the web, and out of C, the total for P would be, in this case, the total sales would be how many? 225, right? If you can put it, 225. The total sales for Q would be 140, and the total sales of R would be 160, right? And from this, if you look at the percentage that have been given, 80% is sold, 75% is sold, and 60% is sold. So 80% is sold of this value. Similarly, 60% is sold of I think it was 75. So just a second. 75% is sold of 140 and 60% is sold of 160. Now, isme we don't know how many of each type is sold. All we know is the total is 225, 80% are sold. How many are smart and how many are SDR, that we don't know. Similarly for shop Q, similarly for shop R. Now, both the tables I have taken in this slide, and I have questions with these slides. Now, please attempt this question. Right? So please solve it and try and give me the answer. If the ratio of the number of smart TVs and SDR TVs sold by P is 3:2, find the number of smart TVs sold by P. This is a very simple question. We know the total sales of P is 225, and out of that 80% is sold. So 80% of 225. So 80% is 4 by 5 of 225, right? So this comes out to be 180. Total TV that P has sold is 180, and out of that, smart TV to HDR TV ratio is 3:2. And we need, sorry, what is the answer?
108.
108, perfect. All right, smart TV would be 3 by 5 of 180. So if we solve this, we get 36, and 36 into 3 is 108, like rightly pointed out. All right, so all you have to do in these sets is you have to understand the data. Data is the total set, total TVs has been given. For this is 140, and this is like 160, and from that the ratio has been derived. So 180 is the total TV sold of shop P, and that is 3:2. So smart TV would be 3/5 of 180, that is 108. I hope this is clear. Any doubts in this? All right, we look at the second one. By what percentage is the number of television that are not sold by R more or less than the number of television not sold by Q? Now we have to find R not sold and Q not sold and compare them in terms of percentages. Try this and let me know the answer. If R sold is 60%, what will be R not sold? 40%. 40% of 160. And Q not sold would be 75% is sold. So what is not sold? 25% of 140, because this is total is 140. Sorry, this is 140 and this is 160. So not sold. So if you look at R not sold is 64 and Q not sold is 35, right? 25 fours are, and this gives you 35. Now what we have to do is you have to compare in terms of percentages. R ka value is 64 not sold, Q ka value is 35 not sold. Now can you tell me by what percentage is more? So how do we find percentage change? We have to find percentage more or less. So 65 is minus 35 upon compared with 35 into 100. So this comes out to be 29 upon 35 into 100, and this is 7, this is 20. So this cancels out. This becomes 580 upon 7, and that comes out to be approximately 83%. So our answer should be 83% more. So here we don't have to find sold, we have to find not sold. So if 75%, if 60% of R is sold, 40% is not sold. 75% is sold, then 25% is not sold. So 25% of 140, that is Q not sold. 40% of 160, that is 64 not sold. And 64 is what percentage more than? See, when you have to compare how much it is percentage more, you subtract it. You see how much is it more? It is more by 29, and it is compared with what? And it is always seen, जो चीज बाद में आएगा उसी के साथ comparison होगा, that are not sold compared with Q. So Q not sold is 35. That is why we have written 64 minus 35 by 35 into 100. That approximately comes to be 83%. Is it clear? The data was about not sold. Should we move to the next one?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, let's try this one. I want your answers now. दो क्वेश्चन हमने किए. Now you tell me the answer. What could be the answer? Understand the question and then answer. You have to find the difference television sold by P and Q and the different number of television not sold by P. This is an easy question. I hope everybody will get it. Any answers?
240.
Absolutely, 240. So P sold would be how many? 80% of 225, because our total is 225. If you look at this total is 225. So which means that is 180. Q sold is how many? Q sold 75. 75% of 140, that is 105. Now this total comes out to be 285. Iska difference we have to take with P not sold. Now P not sold would be simply 20% of 225. That will be
45.
45. So if we subtract this 285 minus 45, the answer would be 240, which is option number first. All right, this is an easy question. I think everybody should get this. Should we move to the next one? All right,
Yes, sir.
let's try this one. Any doubts in the previous question, or are we good for the next one? All right, let's try this one. 9th. If 60% of smart TVs are sold by P and 40% of smart TVs are sold by R. See, P ka total sale is 180, total sale, and R total sale that we computed is 60% of is 96.
Option
Correct. Option
1.
please check. I don't think it's the right answer.
Okay,
Now
sir.
P ka total sale is 180 and P is selling 60% of smart TVs. So smart TV में P would be 125 का 60%. That will be 75. So smart TV जो बिक रहे हैं, that is 75. So HDR TV sold by P would be 180 minus 75. That is 105. Now similarly, smart TV in R is they are selling 50% of smart TV. So out of 90, they are selling 50%. So 50% of 90 is 45. So if we subtract HD for HDR, we would find out by subtracting 96 minus 45. So HDR TV sold by R would be 51. Now the total of HDR TV sold by P and Q would be 105 plus 51. That is 156. This is the total P and R HDR TV sold. HDR sold. is 156. And we have been asked, this is what percent of the total number TV available with P, not the sold, but the available, that is upon 225, because total available with P is 225, right? So into 100. Now, if we solve this, we can cancel with 25. So 25 nines are and 25 fours are, and this we can cancel with 3, and this will be 52. So this comes out to be 208 upon 3, which is 69 1/3%. So our answer option should be third option, which is 69 1/3%. See, the question was about HDR TVs total sold by PNR. So they have given that we know the total sales of P is 180, and smart TV sales of P is 75. So HDR sold by P would be 105. R ka total sales is 96, and smart TV is 90 ka 50%, which is 45. So 96 minus 45, HDR TV sold by R is 51. So what is the total sales of PNR in terms of HDR TV? That is 105 plus 51, that is 156. Out of total available with P is 225. So our 156 upon 225 into 100, that translates to 69 1/3%. So this should be our right answer. Please check. Here the question was about HDR. So we have to find first the smart TVs jiska percentage has been provided with, and subtracted and get HDR ka values for PNR, added 156 upon the total available with P, that is 225. So that is 69 1/3%. Is it clear? Please ask if there are any doubts. We can still do it again.
Sir, please tell the last step, sir.
Sure. See, I'll explain again. Now, see, what is happening here is, I'm sure you would have got this, that P total sale is 180, right? Out of which, so this is P total sale, out of which P smart TV sale is how many? 75. So if we subtract these values, we get 105. This is P ka HDR sale. All right. Then Q total sale is R ka total sale is how much? 96. Out of its R ka smart TV sale is how many? That we calculated 90 ka, say 50%. 50% of 90, that is 45. So R ka HDR sale is 51. Now question says then the total number of HDR TV sold by PNR together. So 105 plus 51, that is 156. That is 156. 156 is what percentage of total available in P? Available in P is this. See this 225. So 156 upon 225 into 100. And when we solve this, we get 69 1/3%. All right. So we have to find percentage of out of what? Out of total available in P. Available in P is 225, and HDR of R and P together amounts to 156. So 156 upon 225 into 100. Is it clear? I hope it is clear. Should we move to the next one? Yes or no? All right. Let's look at the next one. Let's try this one. Please try this one. The selling price of each smart TV and HDR TV sold by P is 30,000 and 20,000. So smart TV का price है 30,000 and HDR का price है 20,000. Now, if we know the price, we also need to have the quantity. So it says 20% of TV sold by PR HDR TVs. How many TVs is P selling? P is selling 80% of 225. So P is selling 180 TVs, and out of which 20% are HDR. Now, can you solve it? If 20% is HDR, smart TV will be 80%. 80% of not the total, but sold. Sold is how many? 180. Now try and figure out the answer. Total amount earned by P. 180 को दो पार्ट में डिवाइड करना है, 20% and 80%. You will get the numbers. HDR कितना बिक रहा है और स्मार्ट टीवी कितना. Can anybody tell me what will be the sale of HDR TV? Out of 180, 20% are HDR. Anyone?
20,000 into 20%.
20% of 180 will be 36. So HDR will be 36. And 80% of 180 would be 144. Remaining are smart TVs. So these are smart TVs that are being sold. This is HDR. This total amounts to, if you multiply 432, 43 lakh 20,000. All right, 43 lakh. 43 lakh 20,000. So I'll just make a correction. So this total comes out to be 43 lakh 20,000, and this total comes out to be 7 lakh 20,000. So the total amount earned by P would be 50 lakh 40,000, which according to the option should be answer option 5. See, aapko price has been given 30,000 and 20,000. All you have to do is understand that the total TV sold by P would be 225 ka 80%. The total TV sold is 180. They are of two types. One is HDR, one is smart. HDR is 20%. So this becomes 36, and smart TV is 80%. So this becomes 144. So we multiply smart with smart TV. So 30,000, 144 units, 20,000, 36 units. Total amount is 50 lakh 40,000, which is option number 5. Is it clear? Should we move to the next one? Any doubts in this set? Can we move to the next one, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Now look at this data. This data would also be along with the questions, but just go through this data. The pie chart shows the percentage-wise breakup of total sales of 4 agriculture products: rice, wheat, onion, and chili in 2020. All right. Each of these are sold at two places, X and Y. So there are 4 products, 1000 kgs. Percentage breakup has been given, and they are being sold at 2 places. So rice will also be sold at X and Y. Chili, wheat, onion, all are sold at X and Y. The line graph shows the rate of the product per kg. So the line graph is this, which shows the per kg price of different commodity at place X and place Y. Clearly you can identify place X has been represented with a kite shaped or a diamond shape, and place Y is being represented with a square, right? So for example, at place X, rice would be 30 per kg, and at place Y, rice would be 50 per kg. Similarly, onions at place X would be 80 per kg, and place Y it will be 60 per kg. All right, so this data has been given. Now I'll go to the questions, and questions both these data would be given, right? Right. So this is your left hand side gives you the pie chart that gives you the breakup of different items, and right hand side is price per kg at place X and place Y. Try question number 11. If the amount earned on selling wheat at Y is 2,16,000, then find the amount earned on wheat at place X. So they're talking of wheat. First and foremost, find out what is the wheat total sale. Wheat total sale is 1 lakh ka 10%, that is 10,000. So 10,000 kg of wheat is being sold. Now see, in place Y, the total amount we are getting is 2,16,000. And what is the price of wheat at place Y? Price of wheat at place Y is 30 per kg, correct? So if we divide it by 30, we'll get the quantity. So which means 7,200 is at place Y, right? 7,200 kg is at place Y. This is total wheat. Now, if I subtract 10,000 and 7,200, I'll get 2,800. This is 2,800 kg is place X. And what is the price at place X? Can anybody tell? 50 rupees. So if 2,800 kg is being sold at place X at the rate of 50 per kg, if we multiply this, we get 1,40,000, which is clearly option number 3rd. So please check again. This pie chart gives you the quantity. So we know wheat is 1000 kgs, 10,000 kgs. Out of that 10,000 kgs, how do we know how much is being sold at Y? Because we know price of wheat at Y is 30 and the total sale is 2,16,000. So we can very well say at place Y, 7,200 kg of wheat is being sold. So out of 10,000, 7,200 is sold as Y. So at X, how much will be sold? 2,800 kg. So sold at 2,800 kg at what price? At 50 rupees, because we can find out that the price of wheat at place X is 50. So the total amount will be 1,40,000. So once you do first question, you also understand that the pie chart gives us the quantity, and then the right hand side line graph gives us the pricing, right? So total quantity can be divided into two parts, X and Y. So in this case, 10,000, out of that 10,000, 7,200 came about for place Y. So out of 20,000, if we subtract 7,200, we get 2,800, which is definitely for place X. 2,800 kg at the price of 50, that will be 1,40,000. I hope it is clear. Yes, should we move to the next one? Any doubts that you may have? See, the amount is 2,16,000, which means at the price of 30, that can give us the quantity. Quantity for Y is 7,200, and the 10,000 kgs is the total, that is wheat is being sold. So 10,000 minus 7,200 will give us 2,800. 2,800 kg is being sold at X and the price is 50. So the total amount would amount to 1,40,000. Should we move to the next one? Okay. Let's try this one. If the ratio of amount earned on X, on rice in X to that in Y is 2:5, then find the difference between the sales of rice in X and that in Y. So now you have been given rice ka data and the amount ka ratio in X and Y. First and foremost, think about the ratio that has been given. Ratio is about amount, right? Now, if we are looking at this data. Now, can anybody tell me what is the price of rice in X? Price of rice in X is 30. Let's say A quantity is being sold, right? So 30A is the total amount at X, and price of rice in Y is 50. Let's say the quantity being sold is B. So 30A upon 50B should be equal to 2 upon 5. So A and B, A is quantity at X and B is quantity at Y. So quantity multiplied by price, that will give you amount at X. Quantity B multiplied by 50 will give you the amount at Y. Now if we solve this, we get A upon B is equal to 100 upon 150, or A upon B is equal to 2:3. A upon B is the quantity, and what is the total rice that we have? Total rice is 36%. 36% of 10,000. This clearly is 3 of 1 lakh. So 1 lakh. So this clearly comes out to be 36,000. If 36,000 is the total rice and quantity is ratio A ratio B is 2:3, this is at X, this is at Y. So if to find the difference, we can very well say if this is 2x, this is 3x, then 5x is equal to 36,000, or 1x is equal to 7,200. And if you look at that, this is the answer that we need, because the difference of 3x and 2x is also 1x. So our answer option should be on answer option 5. The difference between the sales of rice in X and Y should be 7,200. So I'll explain again. Let's say the quantity at place X is A. This quantity at place Y is B. Then the amount at place X would be 30 into A, because the price is 30, and the amount at place Y would be 50 into B, and that ratio is 2/5. Then we get the quantity ka ratio. A ratio B is 2:3. Then we find out what is the total quantity that is being sold. The total quantity being sold is 36% of 1 lakh, and that comes out to be 36,000. And if it is to be distributed in the ratio 2:3, we get the total X key value as 7200, and 1X is the difference between them. Or we can simply say, see, 5 parts value is 36,000. So 1 part value is how many? 1 part would be 7200, and 2:3, the difference is also 1 part. We can clearly say our answer should be 7,000. Is it clear? Question number 12, everyone?
Sir, actually in question they asked 2:5, no sir. How come 2:3 came, sir?
Sorry?
Sir, in question they asked 2:5.
Yeah.
How come 2:3 came, sir?
I'll explain. See, in question it says the amount ratio is 2:3. All right. The amount earned at place X and place Y, amount earned ratio is 2:5. Now amount, where will amount come from? Amount will come from price multiplied by quantity, correct? Yes. So price at X is 30. So you can see this 30, and quantity we have assumed A for place X. Now for place Y, price is 50, correct? This is 50, and let's say quantity is B. So the ratio of amounts will be 30A upon 50B. That ratio is 2/5. So when we solve this, we get the ratio of the quantities. This is 10, this is 3. So we get A upon B is equal to 2/3. This 2:3 is not the ratio of the amount. This is the ratio of the quantity. This is the ratio of quantity at place X and at place Y. Once we have the ratio of quantity, then we know the total is 36,000, and that we divide in the ratio 2:3, and then we get the difference as 7,200. So you are right in thinking that ratio is 2:5, but that ratio is price multiplied by quantity. Price is 30, quantity is A. Similarly for Y, price is 50, quantity is B. So A upon B is 2:3. A and B are representing the quantity at place X, and Y, B is representing the quantity at place Y. That ratio is 2:3. All right. Did I answer your question well?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Sure. Can we move to the next one? All right. Let's try this one. Read the question carefully. In place X, the ratio of the sales of onion to that of wheat is 9:Y, right? So for place X, onions ratio wheat, quantity sold is 9:1. Let's say this is 9K and this is 1K. This is place X. In place Y, the sales of onion is equal to that of wheat. Place Y, onion is equal to wheat at place Y. Now think from this perspective. At place X, this is 9K, and place wheat is 1K. Now can you tell me what is the value of onions, total onions? Total onions sold is 32,000. That is 32% of 1 lakh. Total onion is 32,000. And what is the value for wheat? Total wheat is 10,000. How? 10% of 1 lakh. So total wheat is 10,000. Total onion is 32,000. Now think, if onion total is 32,000 and I subtract 9K, I get onions at place Y. And similarly, for wheat, 10,000 is the total, and at place X it is 1K. I get 10,000 minus 1K at place Y, and here it is given out to be equal. So we can say 32,000 minus 9K, this is onion at place Y, is equal to 10,000 minus 1K, that is wheat at place Y. So if we solve this, we get 22,000 is equal to 8K or K comes to be 2750. So our answer option should be option number 1. I'll explain again. All right, don't worry. I'll explain again so that it is amply clear. See, what is the total value of onions? 32,000. Okay. What is the total value of wheat? 10,000. I hope this is clear. Now this 32,000 can be sold in place X, can be sold in place Y. 10,000 can be sold at place X, can be sold at place Y. Now, what have been given is for onions, and this is wheat, right? It has been given place X ka ratio is 9:1. So can I say place X mein if this is 9K, then this is 1K? Out of 32,000, place X में 9K है, तो at place Y it will be 32,000 minus 9K. And out of 10,000, 1K is at place X, so at place Y it will be 10,000 minus 1K. Now these two values have been given to be equal. These values are equal. So can we say 32,000 minus 9K is equal to 10,000 minus 1K? So from here we get 22,000 is equal to 8K, and K ka value comes out to be 2750. This is the solution. So now it is more clear, I guess. 32,000 two parts, X and Y. X is 9K. Likewise 10,000 for wheat. X place X is 1K. So if total is 32,000, place X is 9K, place Y will be 32,000 minus 9K. And total is 10,000, place X is 1K. This for Y it will be 10,000 minus 1K. And these two are equal. So this we have put as equal because they have said sales of onion is equal to that of wheat at place Y. So K comes out to be 2750. Is this clear? Please ask if there are any doubts. Totally fine. Please ask.
I have a doubt.
Yeah, sure.
The question is that find the total quantity of wheat sold in Y.
Okay.
So in Y, the total quantity of wheat sold was 10,000 minus K.
Yeah,
But
see,
K came out to be 2750. So we need to calculate 10,000 minus K.
just a second. So our value was 32,000 minus 9K. Just check.
For
And this was 10,000 minus 1K. So yeah, so 22,000 was 8K and K was 2750. So we have been asked find the total quantity of wheat sold in Y. All right. So wheat sold in Y, K is 2750. Yeah.
Yeah. So the wheat sold in Y was 10,000 minus K. So the answer should be 10,000 minus 2750.
I think you're right in that case because I think yeah, sold in it's not X. If it would have been X, then yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Then the answer
Yeah.
would have been
Because yeah. So I think according to the options I've marked it, yeah. So I totally agree because it
the
is
answer
in
not
not
in the
for
option.
X. Yeah, it's not in the option. So I think we can assume ki wo X click error, but you're right. In Y it will be definitely 10,000 minus 2750.
2750.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Perfect. All right. Let's move to the next one. Please try this. If the ratio of sales of chili in X to that of Y in 5:6 and that of wheat in X to Y is 7:3, then find the total sales of chili and wheat in X. So chili is in contention now. Chili is 22%. So chili total would be 22,000 surely. And wheat is obviously we know is 10,000. So this at place X and place Y, they have been given 5:6, and this at place X and place Y is given 7:3. So this is an easy question. I think you should get it. We have to find the total sales of chili and wheat in X. So this is 5/11 of 22,000, and this is 7/10 of 10,000, right? So tell me the answer. What is the answer that is coming?
17,000.
17,000. Absolutely. This is 2,000. So this will be 10,000 of chili in X and this will be 1000 of wheat in X. So the total of 10,000, 7,000 would be 17,000. So this is the easier question because both values are very clear cut, that out of 22,000 you have to divide in 5:6, and out of 10,000 you have to divide in 7:3. So for X the chili is 10,000, and for X the wheat is 7,000. The total sales we have been asked of chili and wheat, so that will be 17,000. I hope this is clear. Can we move to the next one? All right. So this is about if the amount earned on selling chili in both the places is 7.6 lakh. Find the ratio of the number of sales of chili in place X to that in place Y. So chili total you have sold is 22,000, correct? And the total amount earned is 7,60,000, including place X and place Y. You have to find the ratio of sales of chili in place X to that of Y. And chili's prices for X is 40 and for Y is 30. Try and solve and tell me the answer. I assume there would be two equations that will come into picture. So at place X, if X is sold, at place Y, if Y is sold. So first equation would be X plus Y is equal to 22,000 total quantity. And place X, the price is 40. So amount at place X would be 40X. At place Y, the price is 30Y is equal to 7,60,000. These are the two equations that needs to be solved. And easily you can, what you can do is multiply this by, let's say 30. If you multiply this by 30, then you get 30X plus 30Y is equal to 6,60,000. And if you subtract this gets cancelled out. 10X is equal to 1 lakh, which means X is equal to 10,000. So if 10,000 is being sold at X, is 10,000 is being sold at X, Y would be 12,000 would be sold at Y. So the ratio would come out to be 5:6. So the answer should be 5:6. Please check. So we again form two equations based on what? That the ratio we have been given the total sales we know is X plus Y. So the total sales of at X and XY places 22,000. This was our first equation, and second equation was according to the prices. 40 at the price at place X, 30 at place Y, and that was 7,60,000. We solved these two equations. We got X as 10,000, which means 10,000 is being sold at X, and similarly 12,000 would be sold at Y. So the ratio would be 5:6. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
All right. Can we move to the next one then? All right. Please go through this data once. So this bar graph gives you the percentage of coconut trees in 5 villages P, Q, R, S, and T. 2010 and 2020. 2010 again is marked with diamond, and 2020 is marked with circle. You can also see the difference in the colors. So this, and there are only two types of trees. The total number of trees is equal to coconut plus peepal trees. Now needless to say that for let's say village P, 30% in 2010 were coconut trees, then 70% would be peepal trees. Similarly in 2020, 40% are coconut trees in P, so 60% would be peepal trees. So there are only two types of trees. So coconut tree ka data has been given, and peepal tree we can find out the percentage by subtracting from 100. This is the data. Okay, then this is our question number 60. Let's try this one. You have to be careful with 2010 and 2020 values. The question says in 2010, the ratio of peepal trees in P to that in Q is 2:1. And the number of coconut trees in village P is 720 in 2010. Then find the number of coconut trees in Q. Start with what value you have. So I think you can start with this. The number of coconut trees in village P is 720. In 2010, the percentage for coconut trees is 30% of total, and that is given out to be 720, right? So total trees ka 30% is coconut trees, and that is 720. That has been given to us. So the total for village P, total trees would be we can find it out, 2400. So P ka total is 2400. All right. If P's total is 2400, similarly, we can also find out Q ka total. Now, Q ka total, we know ratio of people trees in P to that in Q is 2:1. Now, 2400 minus 720, right? Then we can find out this value coming out to be 2400 is the P ka total, and we subtract this, we get 8, and 1680. So this is, people trees, P people trees, that is coming out to be 1680, and this is Q के people tree के साथ this ratio is 2:1. Q के people tree के साथ this is 2:1. So Q में people trees can out we can find out that will be 840. Q के people trees we have found out 840. Now this 840, if we look at, this is representing how much 60% is coconut trees, right? So in Q, 40% would be people trees. So we can say 40% value is 840, and we have to find 60% ka value. So agar 840 upon 40 into 60 we do, we get 60%. See, why are we finding 60%? Because for Q, coconut trees in 2010 is 60%. So if we solve this, we get 1260 as our answer. So 0 gets cancelled. So 210 multiplied by 6, our answer should be 1260, which is option number 2. Check again. See, there can be another way of doing this. One way is that you find out what is the total number of total trees in P, that is 7 for 2400. You subtract, you get people trees, right? Then if you get people trees, because the ratio has been given with Q ka people trees, so Q ka people trees comes out to be 840, and this 840 is 40%. Why 40%? Because 60% is coconut trees. So one way of doing this would be this. Now I can, we can also solve this question based on this. Let's go to this. We have been given the ratio of people trees in P to that in Q is 2:1. Now can I say this can be represented by 70% of P total upon 40% of Q total. How are we getting this value? Because 30% is coconut trees, so 70% is people trees. Similarly, 60% is coconut trees in Q in 2010, 40% is this. So we can say P upon Q ka total ka ratio is nothing but 8/7. This is nothing but 8/7. This is P ka total upon Q ka total. Now we also know that coconut trees is 720, right? So this value we have already worked out. 720 is represented of 30% of P. So P ka total is 2400. Now if this is 2400, 8 ka value is 2400, this value would be 2100. All we have to do is 2100 is Q ka total, and we have to find coconut trees, that is 60%. So one other way of doing this question can be this one, where you equate directly that 2/1 is 70% of P and 40% of Q. You get a ratio of P upon Q as 8/7, and 8 ka value is 2400 because coconut trees was 30% of P ka total, so P was total was 2400. So we get Q ka total as 2100 and uska 60%. So both way are conveniently done. It's nothing to worry. You can use whichever way you want. Important is to understand that this value becomes important because this gives you P ka total 2400, and once you get 2400, then you can relate with this ratio, or the way we had done before, 2400 minus 720, and then take a ratio, whichever way is. Is it clear both the ways?
Sir,
Can we move?
how come 2400 came, sir?
Sorry.
How
Okay.
come 2400 came?
Sure. I'll explain. See, what is happening here is we have been given that coconut trees in village P is 720. Now, see, P में 2010 में what is the percentage? 30%. So can we say 30% of P का total is 720? Because coconut trees are only 30%. So 30% of P ka total trees is 720, which means P total trees will be 720 into 100 upon 30. If we see, if we calculate this, we get 240 into 10, that is 2,400. Is this clear? This calculation is clear. I just took a shortcut and put the
Sir.
value as. Now it is clear.
Yes, sir.
All right. Can we move to the next one now? See, any doubts you may have, please point it out, because at times, you know, what happens is we assume, okay, this is clear, but you know, you have to ask if some value is not clicking, or why is it coming. Is this clear that once we have found out 2400, 8 represents 2400 to 7 will be 2100, this will give us Q ka total, and all we have to do is find Q ka total ka 60%, which is 1260. So next, now please try this. In village R, the number of people it trees in 2020 increased by 20% when compared to that in 2010. What is the percentage change in the number of coconut trees from 2010 to 2020? So village R we are talking. So how can we approach this? It says in village R, the number of people trees in 2020 increased by 20% when compared to that in 2010. Let's say in 2010, they were 100, right? Out of which, if you look at the values, 50% are coconut trees. So we can say out of 100, 50 were coconut and 50 were people. Now, the question clearly says the number of people trees increased by 20% when compared to 2020. So this has increased by, 50 has increased by how much? 20%. So this has become, 2010, we had 50%, okay, and 70%. So this has increased by 20%. So this has become 60. So number of people trees increased by 20% when compared, they become 60. Now, what is the percent change of coconut trees from 2010 to 2020? Now, just see this 60, which is people trees in 2020, should be equal to what is the percentage for people trees in 2020? 30%, because 70% is coconut trees, right? So we can say 60 is represented of 30% of R ka 2020 ka total. Why? Because if people trees have increased by 20%, so after 20% they have become 60, and this 60 is nothing but 30% of R ka 2020. Why? Because 70% is coconut. Now, if we solve this, 0 gets cancelled, 3 gets cancelled, 20, we get R ka 2020 ka total as 200. So if this total is to be 200, then this value will be 140. If this total is 200 for 2020, this value would be 140. Now we can find out the coconut trees ka increase, which is increasing from 50 to 140. Now what is the percentage increase? 90 change hai, 90 is the increase upon 50 into 100. If we solve this, we get 18, and we get our answer as 180% increase. So we can clearly mark our answer as option 5. All right, I'll explain again. In 2010, let's say they were 100. This value we have assumed to be 100. Then they were 50 and they were 50 because 50% has been given. This value 50% on the graph. So 50 and 50. Now this 50 increased by 20% became 60. Now if this became 60, we have no idea how much has the total increased. Now this 60, which is people trees in 2020, this 60 is equal to 30% of R in 2020. R is R ka total in 2020. So R ka total in 2020 is 200. If R ka total is 200 and 60 are people, then coconut trees are 140. Now if it is increased from 50 to 140, the percentage increase comes out to be 180% increase. Please check if it is not clear. Please ask if there are any doubts. You can definitely do it. Is it clear? Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's move to the next one. Let's look at this data. In 2020, if the total number of trees in S is equal to that in T, and the total number of coconut trees in the villages S and T is 20 to 80, find the difference between number of people trees in S and T. Try, please try this. So question says in 2020, if the total number of trees in S is equal to that in T, right? Now, if you look at the question, total trees are equal. Let's say total trees be, let's say X in both places. At S as well as T, let's say total was X. Now, can I say then coconut trees will be 54% of X, and at village T, the coconut trees will be 60% of X, and this value is 2280. Why have we taken 54%? Because for 2020, S is 54% coconut trees and T is 60% coconut trees. If we solve this, we get 114% of X is equal to 2280. And if we solve this, we get 2280 divided by 114 into 100. This cancels out 20 times. The X value comes out to be 2000, which means our total trees at S was also 2000. At T also it was 2000 in 2020. Correct? Now, if 2000 were the total trees, difference between the people trees in S and T. Now, if coconut trees at S was 54, people trees were 46%, and this would have been 40%. So all we have to do is 46% of 2000 minus 40% of 2000. So the difference would be only 6% of 2000, and the answer should be 120. Please check. So here we have assumed the total trees to be X in both the places. If the total trees are X, then obviously for coconut trees, the equation would, for coconut trees, the equation would be 54% of X plus 60% of X is 2280. We solve X, we get 2000. So both the places, the total trees are 2000. Now, if the total trees are 2000, people trees ke liye we will use 100 minus 54, that is 46% of 2000, and for T it is 100 minus 60%, which is 40% of 2000. So if we solve this, we get 6% of 2000, and that value comes out to be 120. Yeah, this was an easy question. I'm sure everybody would have attempted this. Is this clear? See, the difference here is, all you have to think about is coconut is nothing but 100 minus people, and same with people is 100 minus coconut. So if for 54% is coconut, 46% is people, and likewise 60% is coconut, 40% is people, and we have to find the people trees. Let's try this one. If the ratio of the number of people trees in the villages Q, R and S is 5 ratio 4 ratio 5 ratio 7 ratio 4, QRS 5 ratio 7 ratio 4, and number of coconut trees, R में coconut trees का value आपको given है, R में coconut trees का ratio has been value has been given as 5600. You have to find total number of trees in the 3 villages combined. See, I think the starting point should be R ka coconut trees, which is 5600. And 2010 ka baat ho raha hai, so can we say this 5600 should be equal to what is the value of R in 2010? That is for coconut trees, 50%. So when we can say this is 50% of R total in 2010. So R total comes out to be, R ka total comes out to be 11,200. That we know. Now R total we have computed to be 11,200. Now how would you go about this question? Now you have to find the number of, this 11,200 is R ka total, and this ratio is about what? People, right? Now you have to find the the relationship between how would you relate 11,200 with this. That you have to figure out. Try. If this is 11,200, then can we say people tree would be also 5,600? Why? For R, because 50% tha, तो coconut 5600 है, तो R का people tree would also be 5600. So R ka people tree is 5600, which means 7 is equal to 5600. 5 will be equal to 4000 because this is a multiple of 800, and 4 will be equal to how much will this be?
3,200.
3,200. Okay. Now this we are getting the values for what? Q. So R people we know, Q people will be 4,000, correct, and S people will be 3,200. Now this is not the answer because this is just a people tree. Now we have to relate all of these values with the percentages. How? Suppose in Q you say 4,000 should be equal to, if you look at Q, 60% are coconut. If 60% are coconut, then 40%, this is represent people tree will be 40% of Q ka total. So Q ka total comes out to be 10,000. Similarly, so this is Q ka total, we have worked out 10,000. Similarly, R ka total we already know, that is 11,200. This also we need because we have to find the total trees. Now come to S ka. S ka people is 3,200. This 3,200 should be equal to, what is the value for S? 36% is coconut, so people would be represented by 64% of S ka total. So S ka total comes out to be, this cancels out 550 times, so this comes out to be 5,000. So what is the total? So total would be, Q ka total is 10,000, this is Q. R ka total is 11,200, this is R, and S ka total is 5,000. If we add all of these values, we get 21,000, 26,200. So our answer would be 26,200. So there are two aspects to it. One is, first and foremost, R ka coconut is 5600. So you find out R ka total is 11,200. Once you know R ka total, you know 11,200, you can say this value 7, jo ratio mein 7 given hai, that is 5600. So we come to know that R people is 5600. This R people सबसे पहले निकल के आएगा, which is 5600. Similarly, 5 का value would be 4000, which means Q people is 4000, and 4 का value would be 3200, which means S people trees would be 3200. Now these are people trees. Now we have to find out the total trees. R का clearly identified 11,200. For Q, 4,000 should be equal to 40% of Q. Why? Because for Q, coconut is 60%. If coconut is 60, then people will be 40. So for 4,000 is equal to 40% of Q, which means Q ka total is 10,000. Similarly, for S, 36% is coconut, so 64% is people. So this 3,200 is 64% of S ka total. So S ka total is 5,000. So this is Q ka total, this is R ka total, this is S ka total. If we add all of them, we get 26,200. So this is a good question because ratio is for people trees and value has been provided for R ka coconut trees. R ke coconut se we find out total coconut for R as well as people trees of R. Once people trees of R is provided, and that is 7 ka value is 5600, then we can say 5 ka value would be 4000 because they'll remain in the same ratios. Or you can also work it like this: 7x is equal to 5600, so x is equal to 800, so 5x would be 4000, 4x will be 3200. Now this is the value for the people trees. This people tree should be related with what percentage they are representing. So that is how you. I hope this is clear. Let's move to the next one. All right, let's try this one. If in each village the total number of trees in 2010 and that in 2020 is 1000. Now he says every village in 2010 and in 2020 सारे villages में 1000. In which village the percentage increase in the number of coconut trees is the minimum. So you have to find out percentage increase where it is happening and it is minimum. And this is an easy question, but you have to just figure out 2010, 2020. So if you look at P, what is happening with P? P in 2010 is 30%. So this becomes 300. Right, and it is becoming 40%, so this becomes 400. So we can clearly say percentage increase is 30 to 40, which is 33.33%. How? 40 minus 30 upon 30, which means 10 upon 30, which is 1 by 3, and 1 by 3 is 33.33. If you look at Q is actually decreasing from 60%, it is becoming 50%. So we will not consider this because percentage increase we have to see, so we will not consider this. Look at R. R is becoming 50 to 70. Actually, you don't have to find the values also. 50 to 70 would mean increase of 20 on 50, which is 2 by 5, and 2 by 5 into 100 is 40%. So this increase is 40% for R. If you look at S, 36% to 54%. Why are we not finding out values? Because the values are same, 1000. So we don't need to consider this. So 36 to 54. This is an increase of 18 on 36, which is 1 by 2, which is a 50% increase. So this was 40%, this was 33%. Finally, we are looking at T. Now for T, 40% is in 2010, 60% in 2020. Again, 20 ka increase on 40 into 100, that is an increase of 50%. So if you look at the percentage increases, the highest percentage increase is for S and T, but we need to find the lowest one, and the lowest percentage is for P, because P has moved only 33.33% increase. This we cannot take because it's a decrease. This is the 40% increase, this is 50% increase, and this is also a 50% increase. So by visual observation also we can mark this, that the highest increase would be for the smallest increase, the minimum increase would be for P. I hope it is clear.
Sir, doubts?
Yes.
Any doubts? Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, how come this Q is eliminated?
Because the question clearly states the percentage increase in the number of coconut in which village is the percentage increase is the minimum. For Q, if you look at, it is actually decreasing, right? So we cannot consider a percentage increase. It's already a percentage decrease. We have to find among all the villages jahan pe where the percentage increase has happened and where it is minimum. So Q is eliminated because Q is a decrease from 60% to 50%. See, 60% in 2010, 50% in 2020. So this is a decrease. Rest all are increases: 30 to 40, 50 to 70, 36 to 54, 40 to 60. All right. See, if the question would have been, in which village is the percentage change minimum? Percentage change. Now, percentage change is a neutral term. It can be an increase or a decrease. In that case, you would have seen percentage change in Q would be 16.66% decrease, but percentage change wise, this is the minimum. But the question clearly says the percentage increase in which village is the minimum, right? Percentage increase in the number of coconut trees is the minimum. So minimum would mean you have to find out the minimum among percentage increase jisme ho raha hai. But in Q there is already a decrease. So what I am suggesting is, if it would have been a question like in which village percentage change is the minimum, then Q can figure in, because Q is a percentage decrease and percentage change is the neutral term. We can consider both increases as well as decreases. But in this case, it's just been given percentage increase is minimum, and that is happening for Q. Is this clear now? Yes, I hope it is clear. All right, so that was it. Thank you so much. I hope this session was of some good help, and all the
Sir,
best for your meets. Yeah,
sir, I joined a little late. Can you please show the questions from 1 to 7 for a while? I'll just take a note of them. I'll take a
oh
screenshot and
sure,
I'll practice
sure,
later.
sure. I'll do that. Question number 1 to 5.
No, 1 to 7, sir.
All right. Just a second. Yeah, so this was question 1. So I'll just what I'll do is I'll erase everything so that it can be more visible.
No, sir, it's fine. It's fine.
Now,
That will
take.
yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah. So this is first. When you're done with first, just let me know. I'll just move to
Yes,
the
sir.
next ones.
Please show the next one.
Yeah. This is second.
Sir,
This is
next.
third.
Sir, next.
Yeah. So 4 till 4 you have done?
No, 4 you need to erase, sir. I'll take a
Yeah.
screenshot.
Sure. Better now?
Yes, sir, next.
This is fifth. All right.
Yes, sir, next.
Now, the sixth, this is the initial data.
Okay, sir.
And this is again, and then we have also in the question. So that's
Yes, sir.
not an issue. So this is sixth.
Yes, sir. Next.
And this is seventh.
Yes, thank you so much, sir.
No problem. Any other
Show
doubts in
10th
any other
also.
question? Sorry?
The 10th question.
10th question, sure. Wait. Should I solve it?
No, sir, just
Okay, no
screenshot.
problem.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Any other questions that you need reference for? See, if you're listening, I'll just give my 2 words about your preparation. If you're targeting mains, make sure you understand the pattern well. Make sure you practice according to the difficulty level. And also give lot of mocks, which I'm sure you would be giving, because ultimately it comes down to your stamina, because prelims is especially people who are writing mains for the first time. So the difference between a prelim and a mains is specifically of stamina, because you have to just the time period increases and you have to sit for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So once you adapted to it because of your mocks and everything, that will help. Please analyze each of your mocks, the scores that you are getting. Please make sure you go through your current affairs and banking awareness, everything very careful, because those are the game changers in terms of maximizing your scores. Quants, reasoning, yes, everybody will do, I'm sure. English is also one aspect, English or Hindi, whichever language you're opting for. But yeah, so make sure you're well in tune with writing mocks and analysis of those mocks. And see, always be smart about in your preparation in terms of what to attempt and what to leave, because there would be some speed breakers along the way, wherein even in these sets, some questions are pretty simple, some questions are a little tricky, calculation wise. So you have to be very careful. Okay, I should not get stuck into this. At least you should not be in a situation where you end up losing out on an easier question, because that will not help you. So that mocks preparation, preparation through mocks would definitely have a good idea. And if need be, write 2 mocks a day, a morning and an evening. And if you know your slot or everything, then you can write 1 mock according to your slot, which slot you are slotted in. And all the best, and do well, and just be good. Take care. Bye.